Can we eat or what?
Hello, family and friends. This is Rob, the Sapper Gardener, representing Essayons Family Garden. And I'm here with the Sapper clan, Mrs. SG, SK2, Sapper Pup Maggie, and back there somewhere, and SK1. And today we're going to have an episode of Chow Hall. We had a friend who remembered a recipe we had on our old channel, the Sapper Gardener channel, Houndsman One, and he asked if we could do a version of our red beans and rice again. So ask and you shall receive. So let me turn you guys around, show you our ingredients while Maggie squeaks her chew toy, and we'll get started. Hang on. So this is one of the few recipes that we have that actually has a few more ingredients than I like to work with. I like to try to do dishes that are 10 ingredients or less, but this has more. So of course we have our red beans, which we soaked overnight, pour the water out, rinse, and then put back in to soak. We've got some andouille sausage, which I have cut up and cubed. We've got some celery, which we're using frozen celery from the yard. Obviously, we'll need some water, some olive oil back there. We're going to put in a little paprika and cayenne pepper to taste. We're going to use a few bay leaves, some minced onions. We're going to use some thyme, some parsley, some fennel, just a little bit of fennel, not too much, just for seasoning. Some sage, your Cajun flavoring of choice, and we're using Tony Chachere's, if I'm pronouncing that right. We're also going to use some fresh minced garlic. We're going to use some red bell pepper, which you can use green. We didn't have green, so we're using red. And those are all our ingredients. So let's take you over to the stove so we can. So we've got a pan, we've added in our olive oil, and we've brought it up to medium heat. So now we're going to add in our chopped celery, our bell pepper, our garlic, and our onions. And we're going to saute this for about 3 to 6 minutes until it softens up. And then we will go on to our next step in the recipe. So we'll come back in a minute. So our vegetables have cooked and are nice and soft. So now we're going to transfer our red beans in. We're going to mix them in with the vegetables. And then we're going to add in about 4 to 6 cups of water until we've got this nice and covered. And then once we've got enough water in here, we're going to add in all of our dry spices and we're going to mix them in. We're going to reduce our temperature down and we're going to cook it for about 3 hours, stirring it every few hours and adjusting our water as we need to. After it's cooked for about 3 hours, we'll test it, make sure it's tender, it tastes good, and then we will add in our meat and cook it a little bit longer. So we'll bring you guys back in a few hours. So our mix has come up to a boil. So now we're going to reduce it down to low medium. And we're going to simmer it for about 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours. We'll test it, make sure the beans and everything are soft. The vegetables have basically broken down, and then we'll add our meat and we'll bring you guys back. So now we're going to do 2 next steps. We're going to brown the sausage over on one side. And we're just going to do a quick browning before we add it into our red beans and rice mix. But while we're doing that, we're gonna do a few pulses with the immersion blender into our beans, not to break everything up, but to break up enough of the beans to thicken up the red beans and rice. In this step, you have to be very careful because obviously everything is still very hot. So you're just gonna do a little bit. So you can break up some of those beans and it's still gonna cook for a little while. And this is just what we do. Some people take the beans out. They take about a cup full out and they blend it. But we're going to do ours in the pot so we don't have to transfer stuff back and forth. So we'll be back in a minute. So our sausage is brown. We've pureed just a little bit of the red beans and rice to thicken it up. And we're going to add our sausage carefully into our mix. And we're going to cook this another half hour or so. And our beans are pretty tender, so it should be ready about 30 minutes. But we'll double check it again just to make sure. And then we've got our white rice cooked over off to the side. And we'll let you guys know how everything tastes when we finish. So one step that I forgot to mention, we cut up half our sausage and we cubed it. We browned it, we added it into our red beans and rice mix. The other half of our sausage, we just sliced into medallions and we're going to brown that and we're going to set that aside. And that will go over our red beans and rice kind of as a visual element once we're done. So I'm gonna add that in, finish cooking this down, and we'll bring you guys back when we get ready to plate. All right, we have come back, and unfortunately, this is one of those rare occasions where time just got away from us as far as cooking dinner and other things. So we actually broke down and had pizza before food was ready. But I'm still going to do a taste test of the red beans and rice before I go because I can eat red beans and rice breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So I have a nice bowl in front of me, and I'm actually, while I was waiting, I was watching other YouTube videos, and it was kind of fun. I watched Papa Pepper. They're trying their first taste of bitter melon, and it was actually pretty entertaining watching everybody's reaction to the bitter melon. So I think they're going to try it. Bitter melon is great. I can't knock it because it has tons of wonderful health benefits, but it definitely is an acquired taste, which I think him and Mama Pepper and the Pepper kids have found out. But I digress. So our red beans and rice is done, and everybody else is full off of pizza, but I am not. So I'm gonna give it a taste. And I want to again thank Houndsman One for reminding me about this recipe. We do it periodically, but the old video is obviously not available anymore. So I'm gonna bless my food real quick. Amen. And I'm going to give it a taste before I put any hot sauce on it because it has some cayenne pepper and of course the Tony Chachiris in it. So let's see how it is. You can never go wrong with red beans and rice. And of course, millions of different ways that you can cook it. Like I said earlier, you can add some brown sugar to yours if you want that Popeyes sweet red beans and rice. You can do different meats in it. Some people actually do ground beef in there. Some people do ground pork. To me, the sausage, the andouille sausage, is And I'm not from Louisiana by any means. I'm a Georgia boy, but to me, the andouille sausage seems the most authentic. And you can always switch up your spices and your seasonings, but to me, when I think of Louisiana, this is what I think of right here. And this is one of the rare stew mixes that doesn't have a roux mix in it, but I'm sure there's some creative people who do theirs with a roux too, but to me, this says Louisiana and this says Sapper Gardner style. So, this will be our lunch and dinner tomorrow, if it lasts that long, because I may actually get seconds tonight, but I'm gonna stop eating just for a second so I can close out. Again, I want to thank Houndsman One for reminding me about this dish. If you guys are not familiar with Papa Pepper's channel, which I think most of you are, and I also want to give a shout out or a mention to another channel that we follow, Danny. His channel was formerly Growing Grass Hobby Farm and Greenhouse, and it was Growing Grass Hobby Farms, and it was Growing Grass. But he settled on a new name, which is perfect for him and actually goes with this dish that we're eating now. But he's changed his name to Cajun Hydroponics. So I'll leave a link to his channel down below with the new name so you guys can go check him out, show him some love, and pop over to Houndsman One and Papa Pepper too and show them some love. So I'm going to go ahead and finish my taste test, which is more than a taste test, and we will see you guys on the next video. So as always, this is Rob the Sapper Gardener at Essayons Family Garden. And as always, we want to say God bless our great country, America. God bless you wherever you may reside around the world. God bless your garden, your harvest, your kitchen, your meals, and especially God bless your family, that you have health, success, and prosperity as we do. Take care. Sapper out. Suddenly, as I'm taste testing, everybody else is hungry again. But it is good, so sorry, Joey, I didn't bring any popcorn, but just a little afterwards.